Hello, this is Lisa Russick
And Donna Murphy.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and today it's just Donna and myself, and I, and me, and my. Oh my, Donna, do you still think we're all psychic?
I absolutely do think we're all psychic.
I do too. I do too, listeners and watchers. This is a video on Spotify and YouTube. And this is, we're going to do a refresher. We had the very first time Donna was on the podcast was a Tarot Talk 1. I think we just called it Tarot Talk. And she did go into her past and stuff, but you probably won't listen to that. And if you have, you probably don't remember it. So I'm going to interview Donna again and catch you up on whatever we don't really remember. I did listen to it. I don't know if you listened to it, Donna. But I did listen to it again, and I'd love to go back and explore some of that stuff and let the listeners know more about you now. Then we have a different fan base, maybe now. People listening that didn't listen in the second season. And they've seen you all through all the seasons, but they don't know that stuff about you, maybe because they didn't go back to that first tarot talk.
Yeah.
So why do you think we're all psychic?
I think that we all have intuition, first of all, and I also think. And have come to believe more and more that our own individual consciousness. I mean, on the one hand, I believe we're co-creators of our world.
Yeah.
Right? We're moving through the world. I do think our thoughts, to quote someone else, I won't take credit for this, I do believe our thoughts become things.
Yes.
I think that anything that's material at some point was a thought in someone's mind.
Yes.
Before they built it or made it or invented it or whatever. But I also believe that there is such a thing as a consciousness, a collective consciousness.
Yeah.
A consciousness that is a stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
That includes everything that we're a part of. And that once we're in a physical body, on the one hand, we're co-creators, but we're actually tapping into it. And we're able to tap into it because it's inherently or intrinsically a part of us.
Yeah.
So that means all of the things that to me would go along with the idea of being psychic, right? Things like precognition or all the clairs, right? Clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient,
intuition,
etc.
Yeah.
All of those things are in that consciousness, that container of consciousness. So how could we not be, unless, of course, we're not tapped in?
Yeah.
I think our perception and our consciousness when we're in a physical body actually whittles things down, or we literally couldn't manage. We'd be like,
it's interesting that I had
our heads would explode.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Because I mean, as my senses opened up and I worked with getting the psychic senses stronger, I mean, there were times where I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too freaky, and I had to back off a little while for a year or two and then get back into it because I don't want to go back to that freaky. It's not so freaky anymore, actually, because other things have happened and it wasn't. Like the angels, when I first started working with angels, I was like, oh, these holy beings, and now I'm just kind of like, hey, what up, angel? Help me. Help me with anything. It's my problems. I got problems. And they're like, okay. But I think of the angels.
No, it's really true. And if we were experiencing everything that is happening multidimensionally, while we're in our own, again, physical body with this, physical brain, I think we would just our heads probably would.
But I do believe the true mystics, the true seekers, they do they keep filling their head up and it explodes over and over and over again. The ones
and they realize that it's okay because it doesn't kill you or anything.
Yeah,
it doesn't kill you.
They go through all these dark nights. Yeah. And they come up with these brilliant ways to explain to people how to live their lives and be happy, after they go through hell and back, just because they feel like it, figuring out something. They're curious, and they want to find out the mysteries of life. I don't know if these great masters like Buddha, or Jesus or any of the great philosophers, Confucius, and I don't know if they went through hell and back to get to those great ideas and those peaceful places they ended up in. It sounds like they kind of did, especially Buddha. I mean, he sounds
I think that it requires the willingness. I know that especially the especially Buddhists or a lot of schools of Buddhism, actually talk about the idea of annihilating the idea of the ego, right? A separate
Yeah, I
I.
don't really agree with
I
that.
don't know about that. I mean, I mean, just for myself, I don't know that that would be I don't know that that would be one of my goals.
Yeah.
I think the ego, probably when we leave a physical body, we probably have an option at that point, or not an option. I think at that point we disconnect from an I and become
We come back
part of the
into where our
one.
feelings,
But
all
we
the
still
stuff is
different,
just,
right? But we
do you
still
feel like
different.
that?
I mean, but if we reincarnate, then we're coming back into a being that has an I, has an ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's
There's a
malleable. I
reason
think
for
it's
it. Why
flexible.
wouldn't we do it if it wasn't a reason for it, you know?
Well, because I think there's things you can only do when you're in some kind of physical body with a separate conscious or
Yeah,
a
awake time.
differentiated consciousness.
Yeah,
Otherwise, certain things couldn't get done, wouldn't get done.
true.
So I think
Like
it's to do
sweeping the
our
floor.
work. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The laundry. I mean,
Ah.
I think things like inventions and things like that, right? Innovations in everything and technology and, all of that. I mean, all of that, I think, doesn't necessarily have to be this, I'll say, this particular physical form,
Yeah,
terrestrial human. But I think it has to be something that can take action and that can differentiate from the whole, at least long enough or for much of the time to do certain things
right,
that
right.
don't get done in other ways.
No, they
That would
don't.
be my
I think
that
you're
would
right.
be that yeah, that would be my premise
I
for
had a
why
Donna.
this
This will
is
interest you. I had a guest on here named Lily, and his answer to the question was social navigation. He said that psychic senses were developed for social navigation, and he went through and
Mhm,
explained it step by step. How
mhm,
with with what little words we have, people navigate with our energy. Who do you get close to?
mhm.
Who do you stay away from? And that's what he had.
Yeah,
His answer was, and I was like, no one's ever said that. And that kind of stood out to
yeah.
me. I never told you about that answer. And I just wanted to know what you thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, to me,
Like
that
really
makes a lot of
interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it
sense.
makes a
Yeah,
lot of
it
sense.
does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I thought that was
Because
a
otherwise, the other thing about the whole idea of being differentiated, I don't even like to use the word separate, but
yeah,
differentiated, is that, again, otherwise, there would be no boundary between me, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And some people would say, well, that's a good thing. Not having that boundary is a good thing. There are probably times that that's true or situations where that's true. But if we're going to navigate basically the 3D world, again, I think that differentiation is important. I think it's actually
definitely.
essential.
Yeah.
But we keep those senses,
Oh, they're all
again,
they're
we keep
online.
that,
They're
yeah,
online. Yeah,
right. So that it assists us in the navigation, like he said, which is a
yeah,
beautiful way to put it, so that we know or can choose, yes, this is an energy I want to get closer with and want to interact with, or no, this is an energy
yeah. And
I
you
don't.
don't even think about it. It's just so natural.
Right.
It just
Right.
flows. And I thought that was so. Okay, we're gonna dig a little bit in your past. We're gonna roll it back to 1968. Is that when you were born? I know you are
No.
68. So you were born in. Oh, I can't math that.
57.
57, 1957.
57.
Hey man, I think like the jukeboxes were playing bebop, and Elvis was around,
Yeah.
and then you were a teenager, I guess, in the early 70s, right? Or mid
Yes.
70s. So when I was
Yes.
born, she was a teenager. So
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Where were you raised?
I was born and raised in Chicago.
That's where you are now.
Chicago. Yeah, which is where I am now. Well, metro area. So,
Okay. Did you move around or did you
um,
stay in Chicago all your life?
I've never lived out of state or out of this. Remember, Chicago Metro's huge.
Huge.
It basically extends from like the Indiana border to the Wisconsin border. So I mean, it's a
Right.
big, sprawling. I mean, what they consider Chicago Metro is a sprawling area. But I
Yeah.
lived various places around the city, and then I've lived in the suburbs, a couple of different
Okay.
suburbs. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, but I grew up on the northwest side of Chicago, and that's where I spent most of my younger years, teen years. And then little by little, you start moving around when you get your first apartment, I got married. Yeah, all of that stuff where then where you work and sometimes living near where you work, all
Yes.
of that stuff. So you start moving around,
Yeah.
moving around. But yeah, and I got interested in the tarot pretty young, and I got my first cards when I was 14.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's awesome.
I got my first tarot cards when I was 14, and I was really interested, but I was also
What
kind
was it,
of
the Rider Waite or was it a Thoth deck?
neither. It was actually the Aquarian tarot.
I
It
remember
was
you
given
saying
to
that.
me.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was given to me as a gift.
Okay.
I studied some using Rider Waite. The Aquarian is not the easiest deck to learn on,
Yeah.
even though it's a Rider Waite. They talk about tarot clones, right? So basically, you've got kind of Rider Waite clones, and then you've got Thoth clones,
And
right?
the Tarot de Marseille and Lenormand. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
Lenormand is not tarot.
I consider Lenormand a card divination type.
It's divination. It's definitely divination. No, if you start getting into cartomancy, I mean,
Cartomancy,
broadly
yeah.
speaking, then there's every variation that you could think of. There's
Yes.
Kipper, there's Lenormand. There's people who play with a regular or who read with a regular, truly a regular card
Playing
deck, a
deck. I
52
can do
card
that.
playing deck.
Yeah, all you have to
Yeah,
do is switch the suits. Yeah. You
yeah,
just don't have your majors, unless you want to put your
yeah.
jokers in for the Fool or something like that, or the Wheel of Fortune
Well, you really
Fool. Or I do that
you have your
sometimes. If there are jokers, I will put it in as the Fool, one of
yeah.
the jokers. But if there aren't, then
See,
I
and that because I came to that the other way around, I actually found it was very difficult because there are no majors. There's court cards because you have your king, your queen, and your jack. But
Yeah.
there's I'm like, okay, and then you have ace through 10. You've got that covered.
Yeah. But
But I'm like,
it was weird. That's weird that you said that without the majors, because the majors are the most confusing cards to me.
and see, I'm the other way around. I'm like, I'm much happier with the majors.
Really? It's like, I
I
don't know, something about, the wands, the pentacles and the swords and the cups. It's just like there's something about them that tells like a practical story that I can grab
Well,
onto.
yes, that is
You know?
certainly true. And the idea that that even if you know what element you're basically working in, it
Yeah,
helps
a
break
number.
things down into manageable bites, right?
Yes, yes. And then when I get a big card like Temperance next to whatever, I'm just like, where do I do this? I got a lot of catchphrases here. Temperance is a big card. It's a theme. What's going on here? So it's like it kind of like takes me aback. But sometimes it's not a big theme because you've seen me go through cards. I go through deck after deck.
Yeah,
But people are dealing with their major themes usually when they call a psychic reader.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you were in Chicago. You started picking up tarot at 15?
14. And, I mean,
Yeah. Were you
obviously,
doing it for friends or were you doing it for yourself?
yeah, that was the main thing, was to try to see if I could read for myself, if I could try to read for other people. So during high school, I did some, practice study.
Was that
At that point,
considered
I was
weird or
actually,
normal then to do
it
that?
was considered probably more on the weird side.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like shunned, but it was certainly not mainstream.
Okay. Okay.
There was a general interest at that time. You know what I mean? Like there was a
Yeah.
general interest in, I'll say, the whatever you want to say, the occult, divination, whatever at that time.
Right.
But it was not, it certainly wasn't mainstream.
Right. 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 Okay.
So then I did some study as far as Rider Waite, and then actually when I found the Thoth deck, that was then home, and then that's where I did really all of my studying, or 90% of my studying.
And listeners and watchers,
And
if you're not familiar with the Thoth deck and the Thoth deck, however you want to pronounce it, I think it's Thoth. I say Thoth now because of you.
Yeah.
But it's Aleister Crowley's deck, and and this other woman. Who's the woman who designed the art?
Her name is.
Flipping my mind right now. I just don't know it.
I'm gonna block, and of course I'm gonna absolutely lose my train of thought, even though I know her name like I know my own.
I do too.
Well, that's what Mr. Google's for.
Okay, she's going to Google that. So they designed this deck, and it's
Yeah.
it's a hardcore
I'm
deck.
drawing a complete blank.
It's a hardcore deck, and it's a really good deck. And I found other decks like it, but never like a few decks that imitate it that I've liked. It's very fascinating and very empowering for women and sexuality.
Yeah. And just as I was putting it in there, her name came to me. It's her Lady Frida Harris.
Yes. Okay. Frida Harris. Yeah. Frida
so
Harris.
It's actually Crowley Harris. Yeah. Crowley Harris. So, and it really was for its time, quite unconventional. I mean, not because, tarot is tarot, right? If
it's controversial, it was downright
but it was controversial.
He loved being controversial after a while.
He sought out being controversial. Yes, he wanted to be controversial.
Yes, he did.
He cultivated it as a persona, right?
Yeah, but he got the word out about mysticism and magic and all this kind of stuff because of that.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, tarot is tarot. Again, we kind of tarot is part of cartomancy, divination using cards.
Yeah.
But not all cartomancy is tarot.
Not
Angel cards are not tarot. Lenormand is not tarot. There's a lot of things that are not tarot.
No, tarot is when you have the majors, the minors, and you got the suits and all that stuff.
It's a system. It is. There's 78 cards. Yeah. There's 22 majors.
Like the Lenormand doesn't talk about cycles. Tarot de Marseille doesn't really talk about cycles. Mm-hmm. But the Rider-Waite and the Thoth deck, I think, both talk about cycles. Yeah.
And you'll find, and again, right. And but the idea of 4 suits in the minors, right?
Yeah.
That are, air, earth, fire, water, wands, cups, swords, pentacles, coins, discs, whatever you want to call them. All of those things make a tarot deck a tarot deck. Whatever it looks like, whatever the illustrations look like, whatever its approach to kind of creating or indicating like how the world works.
Yeah.
It's still always, it will fit those criteria or it isn't tarot. It doesn't mean it's not valid. It just isn't tarot.
Okay.
So there's, but it really was a big deal. None of the minors of the Thoth deck, are people, are person.
Yeah, that's right.
There are no person.
Right. Designs of things.
They're very, they're very geometric. Yeah. Very geometric, very, I want to say almost abstract.
Yeah.
And yet,
you see,
but they're not so abstract that there isn't actual symbolism that
there's lots to look at. Especially when you're looking at all the details. It's just like, it doesn't look like there's that much in them sometimes. If you really start,
and then you start looking and and you realize just how much is actually there, how much detail is actually there.
So Donna, so you learned tarot. When did you start giving readings to people for money?
Oh gosh. I didn't start consistently giving readings for money until, really, I would say 2002 or 3.
Wow. Okay.
And then 2004 is when I decided to make tarot my full-time business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
But prior to that, not really. It was more for, we're always supposed to say for entertainment purposes, but it was for learning and to do it for people just as a way of,
helping them. Talking is a great way of getting a conversation going and getting to know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I used to take them up to bars and like, hey, you want a reading? If there's some strange drunk, and I'm just like, I've got my cards. What do you want to do about it? It's a good way to meet people, and it's like I've been trying the open mic night circuit in Nashville, but I keep like making friends with people, and then they go crazy, so it's just not working for me, or they lie or something. So I don't think I'm going to work out with the open mic night circuit that I found. Maybe there's another one. Who knows? There's so many in Nashville, but I
think there have to be many.
There are
going on.
They're all over the place. I just don't know how to find them, but I will. And now that I'm out of pain, I can do it. But I'd like to be able to drive. But I've actually thought, I do go up to some places and pull out my cards, and people love it sometimes, and sometimes they're just kind of like, No, they don't know about that. So it just works. Sometimes it doesn't. It's just I don't have any. I can't just walk up. I can, but it's just hard for me to walk up and say, "Hey, my name's Lisa. What's your name? Would you like to talk for a minute? Because I'm bored and I'm lonely." I'm not gonna say that, but that's how I feel. Like I'm lonely for friends. I need friends, and I'm so outgoing now with this medication, this LDN. It's got me really
Yeah.
outgoing, and it's making me want to talk to people. And sometimes when I'm alone, I'm like, "What do I do with myself?" Because I'm not in pain. I'm used to just laying around, but I'm weak still from so many years of laying around. Okay,
Yeah.
so what did you study in college?
Um, I started with I started focusing on things like writing and, English major kind of things.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Ultimately I went into a different because there was a big gap
Mm-hmm.
from early college with no degree to going to college
Yeah.
as an adult. And at that point then it was psychology, which started as a major, became a minor, and then the focus was organization behavior, because at that point trying to tailor my education to my career made the most sense. And I
Yeah.
worked in human resources for many years. I know
Yeah.
HR,
I bet you're great
the
at
old.
that. You probably knew how to keep everybody in line without having to yell or do anything.
Well,
Well, I kind of like
well,
yelling.
no, I didn't yell. Although there is definitely, I didn't yell. I didn't yell. There was not yelling was frowned upon. However, I do have a Virgo ascendant, and that being said, there is definitely in me a scold who likes to come out
Ooh.
and I have to break her finger and go shut
Scold
up.
me. Oh, break this
Yeah,
finger.
like and that's my own, right? That's my own inner scold that I have to go.
Yeah. Yes, I
That
know what you
stop it.
mean. I know what
Yeah,
you
I'm
mean.
like
Yes.
stop that.
Stop thinking that. Stop thinking that. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Because I'm always like,
Yeah,
Lisa,
I
you're
know.
so stupid. I'm always like, Lisa, you're so stupid. I'm like trying to cut
No,
that out because I'm not supposed to
I
say it.
know.
But I can
And
and
there's also,
still
but
say it.
that,
Because I am stupid sometimes. A lot.
well, so am I sometimes, but I try not to beat myself up over it. But
Exactly.
no, there's that bossy little kind of know-it-all Hermione Granger.
I can see that. I've always felt more like Harry. I've always loved Harry Potter as the character. I've
Yes.
always felt more like Harry. And that's weird because I've never really related to a major character. And I always related to like the side characters in fantasy
Yeah.
novels and stuff, especially the ones who didn't fit in and were really funny. And
Yeah.
I liked Ron. He was
I
funny,
can
but he
relate.
wasn't as
Yeah.
funny as Harry Potter was to me. I mean, he was really
No, I
cracking
know.
me up. Cracked me up. You're like,
But no, I definitely the very first time, and I read the Harry Potter books as an adult. I mean, as a fully grown adult. And
I was in my 20s, I guess, when they came
yeah,
out, and I started reading them. Yeah.
yeah. And I didn't even read them when they first came out. I had a
Oh,
friend who
okay.
kept telling me,
I think it
read
was
them,
on
read them,
book
read them.
through 4 when I started reading them.
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
I mean, I went back to the beginning and started from the beginning, but
Yeah.
I myself was not, I don't know how old I was, but I was probably in my 40s. I
And
mean,
you
I
didn't
was
put
not
them down, did you? You
I
couldn't
didn't put them
stop.
down. I ate my way through the whole series.
And I really think if it were not for Harry Potter, we couldn't have this podcast right now. I really, honest to God, think that because I was in the South when Harry Potter came out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did you hear about all the stuff they used to do? Like the churches were saying this is witchcraft, and you're teaching our children
Yeah.
witchcraft, and it's a fiction. It's fiction. It's a novel.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's what they
Yeah.
said. I mean, even if it isn't, that's great. But I mean, it's just like they thought their children were going to do what? There's no witchcraft or there's no devil. I don't know. It's just a book. You know, the Bible has worse things in it than Harry Potter.
Oh yeah. A lot heavier. Yeah. A lot heavier stuff. And again, I mean, to me, look at the underlying message. First of all, the whole idea behind magic is agency, right? Efficacy, the
Yes.
ability to do something, to take action and have influence on your own life and in the world.
Yes.
To me, that is not a bad thing. And not only is it not a bad thing, I don't think that's at odds with the teachings of Christianity. I broadly painted Christianity. So there's that.
Yeah, and like the
What
word
are
influence, I like kind of think like the influence and also like a contribution, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And what are the and again, what are the qualities that are illustrated throughout the theme of the book? Overcoming something that's evil, negative, dark,
Yeah.
hateful,
Part of
murderous,
you.
right?
It's part of
Right.
him in the end.
Trying to overcome that with light and love
Yes.
and
Yes.
friendship and the
Friendship.
bonds of friendship and
Forgiveness.
courage
The
when you're
friends
afraid.
fought all the time and they had to forgive over and over again.
And they had to forgive each other, but they did,
They
and
did.
they bond,
Yeah.
and that's actually strengthened their bond. None of those ideas to me are at odds with anything that a religious teaching would want people to explore or believe in
Yeah.
or even model themselves
Yeah,
after. To
maybe.
me, that's not, those are character traits, qualities
Yeah.
that I think are not only very much human,
Very
those
much.
are not
They're very idealistic.
supernatural.
They're very
Yeah,
idealistic.
they're very idealistic. The power of love and connection and friendship and all those things.
Yeah. And
So
I
yeah,
do love that Harry Potter had that piece of Voldemort in him, that whole story, that piece of
yes.
hate and evil that he could never, because he was always kind of angsty, and
Yeah.
then and explains it in the end. I just love those books. I think they're brilliant. But
Yeah.
and that's just interesting. His friends loved him anyway, even though they probably sensed there was something in there of that, because they're all magical people. Of course, they sensed something was strange about Harry, but
Yeah.
they didn't care because his light was so much brighter or whatever.
Yeah.
He was
And
always.
the other thing too is when you think about it, the darkness ultimately is overcome. I don't think
Yeah.
we're putting out any spoilers at this point. The darkness is overcome. And the other thing about it is that, people who fixate, so they fixated on, they use wands and say magic spells. They fixated on that and missed everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're picking on the minutia. You're picking on the form that it took to put those characteristics out there in an entertaining way and a fascinating way and an exciting
There's
way.
a
And you're
million witch books and vampire books and all kinds of stuff. But these were pitched towards kids, and then it got dark. That's when they had a big problem. But not really, because the kids loved the books even more when they got dark, and that's
exactly. Yeah,
and our generation did too. Everybody did when they got darker because it's more realistic to our times.
Because that's real. It's real.
It's
and
real.
as you grow up, as you stop being a child and you grow into your adulthood,
you get to know that stuff.
That's when you start dealing with, I'll call it, the evils of the world or whatever you want, however you want to say it. And that's how you have to find your way of navigating the things that are going to come at you that are not necessarily there. Those are not your friends. They are not for your benefit. They're
right.
They may hurt you or try to take advantage of whatever it is. But no, again, that's a mirror for life. So why people would have an issue with that, just because, again, of the form that it took.
But that was a long time ago. That was good 30 years ago, 90s, it's the 2000s. And
late night.
Don't care about Harry Potter anymore and witchcraft.
90s. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Just 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
It's like nobody cares anymore. But that's what Harry Potter did. It really broke some walls down across our country, especially. And the kids were like, well, I'm going to get a wand anyway, Mom. Please give me a wand. Okay, here's your wand. I like this wand. I'm going to go watch Harry Potter. They end up watching it with their kids, and then they like it and they see it's not a big deal. And they grow their minds and they open their minds and they expand. Hopefully most of them did, I think, anyway.
Well, and again, if anybody was paying any attention to what was actually going on and not worried about the fact that they were in some castle, a school that taught magic, again, those underlying themes are very clear and they do speak to something in all of us. And I think they do make a lot of sense. And there'd be nothing, at least in me, that would make me want to discourage my child from saying, that's a good way to be in the world. To care about your friends, to fight for what is good and right, and not let something bad take over. All of those things. I mean, why would you not?
So you're a big reader, aren't you? Or you used to be, at least. You've always been a reader.
Yeah.
What would you say was the most influential metaphysical type books that you
oh my gosh,
changed your life?
Wow. Well, reading, although I will say this as a disclaimer ahead of time. If you read the Book of Thoth, don't read it because you want to learn how to read the cards.
Yeah, don't do that. That's going to be very confusing for you.
But as a piece of study, as study material, generally speaking, yes, it is about the cards, but no, it's not a way to learn how to read the cards. Anyway, that certainly I went through kind of, I'll say relatively brief, but pretty intense. I'll call it the Crowley phase. No, I am not a Satanist.
You were diving in, you're holding rabbit hole, looking around.
Yeah. But I spent a lot of time studying, Crowley's works. I really respect Lon Duquette, and he actually has written some wonderful books about the Thoth Tarot. So that's a good source. I mean, as far as actually learning the cards, it's a good source.
Yeah.
Wow. And I also went through a period of, again, relatively short but pretty intense period of reading a lot of science fiction.
I love science fiction.
And fantasy. So I mean,
I love fantasy. I've written it and written it more than I've read it.
Yeah, and so I mean, Dune had a lot of influence on me. Obviously, The Lord of the Rings had a lot of influence. And I know I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd.
I love The Lord of the Rings. Those books. Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, there was a period in my life where every fall I reread the book.
Oh my gosh. That's
late summer, early fall. I used to read the book.
Yeah.
I didn't always start with The Hobbit. I've read more than once, but I didn't always start with The Hobbit, but always the three of the actual trilogy. I would start in fall. Somewhere usually right around the time of, Frodo's birthday, and and Bilbo's, and start there. I'd start there.
That's really cool.
I read them every year for a long time. So, I mean, those
are huge. And that's very interesting that those are novels because one of my friends, Akasha Prime, we call her on the podcast, she always says that a lot of the fiction has the facts.
Yes.
Buried in it. So the magical facts, listeners, if you want to find them in your fantasy, sci-fi, magical fiction.
Yeah.
And lastly, Donna, I would like to know where we can find you. I know we can find you on Everclear, and Everclear is our sponsor. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths to get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And I am Lisa Russick on there as an advisor, and you are Maria M.
And on Everclear, you can find me as Maria M. And otherwise, my website, dstnytarot.com.
And I've got our We're All Psychic site down now because I can't afford it. But I will soon be activating it again. Well, I deactivated it, and they're trying to make me pay the year in advance instead of the monthly fee. So I just need to call them and work it out.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, but listeners, I'll have that up again soon, and maybe I'll do something fun with it for once. But listeners and watchers, I'm still playing with my Oculus. I'm trying to figure out how the best way to do this is. I might be doing the thing in VR chat. I haven't decided yet. But the podcast that we do record, which I don't think you can get on VR chat anymore on a computer. So I think we might have to do it in Facebook Horizons. I'm not sure yet. So I'm still working on trying to figure out how to do it and where we're going to do it and record it and everything. Yeah. So I'm working on that, listeners and watchers, and we have a lot of fun coming up. And I think we have 2 podcasts on Thursday. Is it this Thursday that we have the 2 podcasts, or was it the next?
I think.
Wait, wait a minute.
I need my.
No, I have one. No, there's one on the 18th. I think there's just one on the 18th. So we have a podcast coming up on Thursday, and then we do not have 2 more. We're not going to have 2 on a day until the 8th of January.
Yeah, January.
So there's going to be a big open space after these podcasts. So maybe Donna will hop on here and have some fun, or I'll throw some weird stuff at you. Anyway, as usual. And any advice to people who are 15 and they pick up a tarot deck listening to this podcast and or 50?
Yeah, really at any age, I would say if you're interested, that's already an indication that you probably have some natural affinity for
Yeah.
that kind of exploration and for wanting to develop your psychic gifts and for wanting to connect differently with yourself and with the world around you. And that's a
Exactly.
great place to start. There are a lot of people who, and if you're using Rider Waite, I mean, there are classic texts out there written by people who are brilliant. Mary K. Greer, Rachel Pollack. I mean, there are a lot of people who are expert, who can
And don't
start.
forget, and there's something to be said for those apps on your phone, because they can really get you
You can, yeah,
get it in your
yeah,
head because you're so fast, and you might scare
yeah,
yourself. So be careful with those.
yeah.
But have fun
But
with
the
the
other thing,
apps.
yeah, and the other thing to remember is, I mean, it really is a combination of both practice and study.
Yes, it is.
But if you approach it with the idea of basically of play, I mean,
Self-study.
the idea of grab the deck, grab the book, memorize the meaning of every single card before you do anything. That you're going to take all the joy out of it. You're going to
Yes.
suck all the juice out of it. And I don't mean
Yes.
in a good way. I mean,
Not
the
in a good
juice is
way.
going to get sucked out
The
of it.
juice is the point.
Right. So go ahead, have some fun, trust yourself, play with the cards. By play, I mean, look at them. What is the story on this one? What's happening here? Oh, look at that over there. Go ahead and let yourself explore, use your child mind to explore. And then you can start slotting in through study because there is a system.
Yeah.
And I always say, if you only know the system and you don't let yourself have that exploratory sensory experience, you're not going to be a very good reader. You really aren't.
It's hard for you. It'll be hard.
You're going to miss something essential. If you
Yeah.
only rely on entirely your own, I'll say, experiential or exploratory senses, there's nothing wrong with that. And that could just be your conduit for your other psychic gifts to come through. But if you're going to use a tool, to me, it's like a hammer. If you're going to use the hammer, you might as well learn what the hammer's good for and maybe what it's not so good for.
Like,
so that's where
so you don't hit your thumb when you're hammering in your first nail.
Right. Yeah. Or a saw, again, or a power
or your
saw.
client's thumb.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's where study backs.
Yeah.
That's where study gives you a container for what you're learning and exploring and what's happening. I'll say on a more natural level. So the two things together are what will really give you the full experience. That would be my advice.
Love it. That's so true. That's so true. Thank you, Donna. I have had a lovely time with you as always.
As always.
And listeners,
Me
I
too.
love you. Watchers, I love you. Donna, do you love listeners and the watchers?
I love our listeners very much. I am looking forward to all of the podcasts that we're going to be doing together with guests and sometimes just with the two of us. Going back and forth, riffing back and forth. But I'm really looking forward to connecting with all of you very, very regularly now. I am so pleased to be a guest host with Lisa now on We're All Psychic. And this is going to be a great journey.
It's going to be a great time. Season 10 starts in January, guys. Catch you on the flip flop. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.